Excited for this week's conversation. We're going to talk about remembering and aligning to your purpose. And for me, my opinion, my humble opinion, is that remembering and aligning to your purpose is one of the biggest power moves you could ever make in your life. And I'm going to explain to you how I embrace my own purpose, how I went through this whole journey in the past 10 years, and how I help women do the same. Women who know deep down inside that they came here to be, do, and have more. They know that they came here to create impact. They know that they came here to share their magic, their brilliance, their gifts, to really create that ripple effect, to help others transform their lives. Okay, so I work a lot with healers, psychic mediums, I work with witches, I work with coaches, I work with so many multi-dimensional women, and it is always such an honor to journey with them. So let's dive in. If you are joining me live, I'd love for you to say hello so I can say hello back. And if you're catching the replay, I would love for you to let me know. And if you have any questions, please let me know. So if you are new to my world, welcome. My name is Julie Sasha Cloutier, and I am the owner of Divine Femme, which is a thriving coaching and mentoring business for, you guessed it, spiritual, multi-dimensional women who want to soar with both wings wide open. They want to leave an impact, a legacy. They want to be able to share their gifts, and they understand that they came here to be part of the planetary shift that is happening right now. Okay, so let's dive into this week's conversation. So if you're new to my world, I am a master intuitive numerologist. I have been for over a decade, and I'm also an energy healer. I have been over a decade. So I use these two modalities to help women navigate through the ebbs and flows and to actually break some glass ceilings, to really experience a deep soul remembrance, and at the same time peel back the layers, right? So that they can heal whatever needs to be healed at that time, so that they can really start leading themselves as that unshakable femme. Okay, so I wanted to kind of walk you through the entire process of how I was able to start embracing my own purpose, aligning to it, integrating it, right? And actually walking the trajectory that I came here to explore, and at the same time calibrate to my highest potential. Now, when I say highest potential, I want to remind you that just when we think we've reached our highest potential, there's another level, right? It's an upward spiral. We are here to expand, and it's a never ending journey. So there's not like that one destination where once you get there, it's like, well, I'm good, right? We always want to explore more, to expand, to ascend, to grow. This is one of the main reasons why we came here. The other reason why you lifted your hand to be here is that you wanted to be part of, like I said earlier, the planetary shift. You wanted to be here to help pave a new way. You wanted to be here to help others onto their own journey to ascension. So you may resonate with terms such as light worker, right? Way shower, dream weaver, visionary, creative. There's so many terms that are out there, and there's probably one that really resonates with you. And you came here to not dim your light. But what happens is that over time, we start getting programmed and imprinted. And what happens is that we start dimming our light just so that we can fit in, just so that we can be loved, just so that we can feel that we belong, right? We want to want to be part of the tribe, right? A sense of belonging. But here's the thing, my beautiful soul, you did come here to fit in. You really didn't. You came here to turn that light on to the fullest, to amplify it to the max, so that everyone who has made a soul contract with you can find you, right? I always use the analogy of the porch light. If you don't turn your porch light on, how will people find you? They will have a much harder time to find you, right? A much harder time. But if your porch light is on, then it'll be so easy for them to connect with you. You are somebody's medicine, right? Everybody is here to share their own magic, and everyone is here to receive as well. So if you don't know your purpose, if you are not clear as to what that is, and you're not aligning to it, then these people are like sitting on the bleachers and are waiting. And meanwhile, you're frustrated. Meanwhile, you're confused, right? And we didn't come here to experience life that way. We didn't. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So let me walk you through my own journey and the journey that I have created for women who choose to enter the Divine Femme Temple. Okay? So the first thing that I believe is essential to really dive into this path of ascension and also the unfolding of who you really came here to be is to experience a deep soul remembrance. And like I said earlier, when we're little children, we start getting programmed. And slowly but surely, we start disconnecting ourselves to our truest essence, right? Because as children, we want to be loved, we want to be accepted, we want to be part of the tribe. And we're very vulnerable. And so we end up doing whatever it takes in order to just be loved, right? To be included. And we start compromising our true essence. We start taking on certain roles. We start shape-shifting. And slowly but surely, as the years go by, you wake up one morning and you don't know who the heck you are anymore, right? You feel very confused. You feel lost. You feel frustrated because you're seeing other people, right? You're witnessing other people walking their path unapologetically. You see them, authentic and true to their virtues and their values and their visions. And you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't see the same thing. And I have been there. And the day that I chose to surrender. Now, surrendering is very powerful. And a lot of people, especially if you're life path 8 like I am, surrendering for some people is a sign of weakness. It's like, surrendering? What are you talking about? You got to fight for it. You got to have courage and you have to go for it and take actions. You can't just surrender. Surrendering is one of the most courageous acts that you can ever do. And I remember when I was working in the corporate world, on paper, it looked wonderful, right? I had almost a 6-figure pay. I had the private bathroom. I always joke about my private bathroom, but I did, right? I had this beautiful office, private bathroom, the benefit plans, the 5 weeks of vacation every year. And on paper, it was beautiful. Well, why was I complaining? But I was the most unfulfilled woman because I realized that this is not what I want to do. And I realized after time, and this is what the universe does, right? When you don't listen, right, to the little messages that your intuition is telling you, your higher self is trying to convey to you, it's like the universe will start speaking louder. And it became very, very uncomfortable in my work environment to the point where I ended up burnt out. Okay. And when I was in my burnout, this is where the surrendering happened because I did everything that everybody was asking me to do, right? Read this book, go talk to this therapist, go for a walk, start meditating, all this stuff. Nothing was working. And I was stressed as heck because I knew that I had to figure everything out within 3 months before going to work. And I wasn't figuring anything out. If anything, everything was getting worse and I was becoming more and more confused because I was listening to everybody else. And they had the best intentions for me, It's just that I had forgotten how to listen to myself, how to connect to myself. I didn't know who I was anymore. And I also have the arrow of frustration in my inner self profile. So if you're missing the numbers 4, 5, and 6 in your date of birth, then you have that arrow as well. And it's a very difficult arrow to manage, right? You really have to understand like the energetics of it and how to alchemize it into your greatest strengths. So the arrow of frustration is pretty much self-explanatory. You're frustrated as fuck because you don't know who you are. You've compromised yourself. You don't stand up for yourself. You have lost your vision. You no longer see that vision for yourself. You have no boundaries, right? You're not tapping into your inner self in order to navigate life at all. And you're definitely not grounded. You're so uprooted, it's not even funny. And so you sway back and forth. So if somebody says, no, let's go this way, well, fine, we'll go that way. And then if somebody else says, no, this way is better, then you'll go the other way. See how frustrating it is? There's no direction, okay? And so this was playing out in my life. And I had to stop. I had to stop. And so I remember sitting in my backyard, and I've told this story before. I was sitting in my backyard, and tears were streaming down my face, and I was looking up at the sky. It was a beautiful sunny day. And I remember saying to the universe, you know what? I surrender. Because I can't do this anymore. I can't live my life like this anymore. And at that time, big kiddo was about 3.5 years old. And I'm like, this is not the mother I want to be. It is not the partner I want to be. It's not the woman that I want to be. I knew deep down inside that there was something more for me, but I didn't know what the heck that was, right? Let me know in the comments if this resonates with you. It's like, you know there's something more out there for you, that you should be doing something else, but what the heck is it? That's the disconnect. That's why the first thing that I do with anyone who enters my world is a deep soul remembrance. And you do this through a numerology reading. I have Light Leap. That's my numerology session. And this is where we dive into specific codes. And I always tap in to your core sequence, which are the 3 numbers that are the most important numbers in your chart. You have your life path sequence, which is the trajectory onto which you came here to explore and to learn from. All your life lessons lie in that. I always say about 85%, 80 to 85% of your lessons are in there, in that code. And then there's your destiny. Your destiny is your highest potential, your zone of genius. It's like nobody can touch you when you're vibing in that zone. And there's your heart's desire, which is how you want to show up in this lifetime. How do you want to express yourself in this lifetime? It is the fuel, right? That motivates you, that makes you take those soul aligned decisions. Now, these 3 codes are really important because when you have a clear picture of these 3 and you're able to put them all together, I call it deciphering, and this is one of the things that I'm a master at. I help women see their soul purpose signature. That's what I call it. And they're able to really see their highest potential. And at the same time, they can see their patterns. They can see why is it that they're living their life in the loop? Why are they repeating the same things? Why are there certain challenges that just keep showing up all the time? And at the same time, they also see if they're calibrating to the light aspect of these codes or the shadow aspect, because everything has duality. And sometimes there are even times where these codes are actually dormant. They've never been fully activated. This is where I come in. So you have Light Leap, which is a numerology session. This is a 90-minute Zoom one-on-one with me, and it's recorded. And we dive into specific codes, some being the core sequence that I just talked about. And all depending on what it is that you want to focus on, we extract other codes in your chart and we break glass ceilings. 90 minutes. That's all it takes to break a glass ceiling with me. And you. This is a co-creation, you and I. We go into this journey, okay? So deep soul remembrance is, for me, step number 1. right? Let's learn how to walk before we run. You need to have a deep sense of self. You need to remember who you came here to be, to get reacquainted with your truest essence, right? And to really connect with your intuition, to reconnect and to have this beautiful, the most intimate relationship you could ever have is with your intuition, with your higher self, and with source, right? So it starts within you. And then once you have that inner connection, I call it like inner communion. You really go into communion. Once you have that, then you're able to connect with the outer world, with the outside world. Then relationships and partnerships and the how do I want to say this? How you relate to the world, to the outside world, all of that starts to shift and it becomes more aligned with who you are because now you have that deep sense of self, right? So when you start reconnecting with your truest essence, the divine feminine energy within you becomes activated or amplifies, all depending where you are in your journey. I have women who come to me into my world and they already have an idea as to what their purpose is, but there's some muck in their way. They're getting in their own way and they just want to know how to get over these things and how to peel back the layers. So they are tapping into the divine feminine essence already, but they want to amplify this. They want to deepen their connection. It's all about expansion. It's all about growth. It's the ascension spiral. And then I have other women who they just have that inner niggle. They know. It's like they know that they came here for something more, but they have no clue what that is or how to even go about it. Okay? So all depending on where you are on your journey, we start from there. Now, the next step would be what I call the goopy part. Oh, this is where we enter the house of mirrors or the cocoon, whichever term resonates with you. And this is where you really get to do the healing. Now, I have a lot of women who will do step one, the deep soul remembrance, and they're really excited about that. And they're able to make a few shifts in their lives, which I think is amazing. But if you're anything like me and you're taking this lifetime very seriously and you feel this urgency of creating that impact and leaving that imprint, right? You want to go deeper, right? My heart's desire 7 loves this part. I love inner work. This is my jam. This is my thing, right? So we go into a period of inner work. And it looks different for everyone, depending on where we are. And some women will, I'm trying to find the right term. Some women will navigate this space very carefully. They will tread very, very lightly. And others will just dive in. They will just leap right in, right? Because they're ready. And there are no right or wrong here. It's where you're at and what you are willing and what you are ready to experience. But it doesn't matter where you're at or how deep you go. For me, if you enter this house of mirrors, right? If you enter the goopy part, the cocoon, you've already done it. Like you've already taken this courage within you and you've walked with your fear. Because it's that step between the deep soul remembrance and then this period of healing. Once you're in this period, you start realizing that it's not that bad, that you are capable of navigating the ebbs and flows. And you realize that the inner healing that you are doing, whether on your own or with me or with another coach or mentor, is much more fulfilling than staying in that loop. You realize just how much more difficult that was than to do the inner work. And when we are talking about inner work here, we're talking about self-love. We're talking about honoring. For me, self-love is honor, right? I always talk about how self-love is much more than just going for the massage and getting your nails done and going out with some friends and meditating. Those things are amazing. They are part of it, yes. But for me, self-love has to do with honor. It's honoring yourself, honoring your being, honoring your dreams, your visions, your purpose, your essence, everything, your energy. That is self-love for me. And with that comes boundaries. And boundaries with a capital B. And this has been my life's work. I'm a life path 268. The 6 in my life path sequence has brought me onto a journey of self-love. And we just happen to be right now in 2022, as I'm doing this live, we happen to be in a universal year 6 right now. And it's all been about healing. It's all been about boundaries. It's all been about healing the divine mother and father wound. It's about honoring yourself, honoring your vision. So that is the next step. Now, the last step for me that really tied the whole thing up, right? Because now you've remembered and reconnected with your truest essence. You've done the work, right? On that level, right? Because when we're going to ascend, there's going to be some more work to do. It'll be different, but every time we ascend, there's some more up leveling to do, right? So once you do that and you want to do like a full circle, for me, what really helped was to really reclaim my power and to become the CEO of my life on all aspects. This is where I merge the spiritual and the physical together. This is where I started seeing myself as my own CEO, right? I'm the one that's in charge. I took the keys back from everything and anyone that I had handed them over to, right? I reclaimed my power. I called it all back. And I learned how to manage my life and my energy. And this is where the energy healing comes. It comes during the healing part, like I talked about earlier. But there's a lot of energy management that happens in this phase, right? There's energy leaks that need to be looked at. There's cording, energy cording that needs to be looked at. How do you ground yourself? Are you leading yourself grounded? You need to make sure that you're fully grounded, that you're fully connected, right, to the spiritual realm, but at the same time that you're connected to the earth. If you're only tapped in to the ether, then you're going to be top heavy, right? You're going to have all these downloads, but everything is going to be like, ooh, and then it's just like a chalice, right? Everything's going to spill over and you're going to feel like, holy crap, I can't hold on to these beautiful things that are coming through, these messages, this wisdom. Why is that? And you're going to feel all confused and top heavy. So we need to be able to anchor all of this down. And that is something that I teach in Force Field, which is my self-study master course. This is for light workers, light leaders, way showers, healers who want to master their energy, who understand that we are energetic beings before anything else. And that the way that we interact as beings, it's always energy first. And because we are here with our empathic abilities, we tend to take on other people's stuff and we end up being depleted, right? We end up taking on their things and then we'll start having physical ailments and we won't understand why. And then we get frustrated because we can't show up as this multidimensional leader that we know we came here to be because we are too busy trying to pick ourselves up, right? So Force Field is the self-mastery course that you want to dive into. If you find yourself always depleted, if you know darn well that you pick up other people's stuff, I teach you so many things. And these are teachings from an initiate school for mystics and sages that I have learned over a decade ago. And they are from the royal lineage. They are so powerful. And they have transformed my life and they have transformed my clients' lives as well. Right? So when you have like these CEO vibes, this is where you start building because you're able to take soul aligned action now. It's all good to remember who you are, and it's all good to do the healing, but now what? Let's create our temple, shall we? Like, let's build this. Build your own freaking temple. You need to focus. You need to be standing on solid ground. You need to build that foundation, right? The foundation needs to be so freaking stable and solid so that you can build upon it. And without this whole deep sense of self, without the healing, you're not going to be able to take the soul aligned action. And once you start doing this, once you start taking the soul aligned action, your life changes. Your life just transforms. And you will look back in hindsight, 1 year, 2 years later, and you'll be like, holy crap. I can't believe how different my life is. Right? I went from a 7-year marriage to a narcissist. It was the most challenging time for me. But again, I learned so much about myself. I went from being that people pleaser, right? Morphing into whatever it is that people wanted me to be just so that I can be loved and accepted and not be rejected and abandoned. I was also in a job that just wasn't fulfilling me anymore. I was energetically depleted. I was just pretending. I was just trying to be whatever it is that people thought I should be. I went from that to being with somebody who actually recognizes and sees my essence, who loves me for who I am, and who actually gives me that space to expand and to ascend and to grow. And now I'm also the CEO of this thriving coaching and mentoring business that is so aligned with me. I get to play in the energy of numerology and energy healing every day, all day. This is what I do, right? I get to witness these incredible light leaders come alive, right? I get to help them ignite whatever it is that's within their soul, within their chart. If it's in your heart, it's in your chart. I'm always saying this. It's not a coincidence that some things are just lighting you up and it just won't let go. But I get to witness these people transform. I get to see them activate these codes and alchemize the ones from the shadows to the light. I get to witness them handing over their resignation. I get to witness them starting a new program. I get to witness them changing people's lives. I get to witness them creating a retreat. I get to witness them taking that certification that they've always wanted to take. That's my life now. And on top of that, I get to homeschool. I get to homeschool my child. I get to navigate life side by side with this beautiful little soul who has chosen me as a mom and help him and witness him and support and guide him in his own unfolding. His own unfolding. Because I know his codes. I know why he's here. And I get to journey with him every day. And this is my life. It has transformed. I can't even remember my life before. I remember snippets. And the same is possible for you. It all starts with a deep soul remembrance. So if you haven't had the Light Leap session, you need to get one. You'll see the description. In the description, you'll see the link for you to actually schedule one. And right now, as we're talking, it is the Black Friday frenzy, and I decided to offer some specific offerings. So the Light Leap is one of them. Okay, so take a look at it. If it's something that you want to experience, send me a DM. I will give you the special link that has the 55% off. I also have the Divine Calling that is also part of the Black Friday. The Divine Calling reading is for business owners or aspiring business owners. And this is where we make sure that you are aligned to your business's energy. It's phenomenal. I've had so many entrepreneurs dive into this offering and they said that this is one of the best investments that they've ever made. That too is 55% off. And what I was talking to you about earlier, force field, is also 55% off. I think before it was 444, now it is 222. So if you're interested, you need to get onto this, okay? I will put all of the descriptions in the descriptions. And if you want the special Black Friday code, then let me know. And I will send you that special link so that you can hop into the Divine Femme Temple and start experiencing these portals of potentiality and start remembering and aligning to your truest essence. This is my life's work. This is what I came here to do. To teach you what I have learned and to ignite the fuck out of you so that you can start igniting the fuck out of others. All right. So, thank you for being part of this conversation. If you know anyone who would benefit from this type of conversation, please feel free to share. Don't forget to like and to subscribe. So on that, I'm sending you all so much love, so much light. Mwah. Ciao for now.